This week on Not Just Another Sex Podcast.
I've never had sex before, and I would like to do it, and I would like to do it with someone that loves me. It's like everybody's sex story sucks, and they don't like the person, and it's uncomfortable, and it wasn't good. And I'm listening to everybody else's stories, and they're terrible. And for me, I had already been being touched by my dad, so I already had terrible. What if I decide to have sex and then that's terrible too? He was like, somebody I care about you a lot. Like, we're not like that. I was like, so you're my friend. So can you do it with me?
I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Use me.
Use me.
Like, I got you.
Hey, Suga. I feel like there are so many different things that I need to learn as an adult. I'm this nasty on a regular day, like on a Tuesday. I am your host, Samia Burton, and don't worry, it's not just another sex podcast.
Welcome back to Not Just Another Sex Podcast. My name is Samia, and I am your host. And today we have an amazing episode, and we're going to do something that we normally don't do, which is date ourselves just a little bit. All you need to know is it's my birthday, okay? I don't know when you're going to hear this, but the point is still celebrate me, okay? And so we have a special, unique type of episode, so bear with us because we're real people doing real things, and so you hear things that you normally don't today, all right? Which is, today is my birthday, and you may be listening to this in May. I have no idea, okay? Anyways, with that being said, I'm going to start the show with a review because we received an amazing review, and we want to let you know to please keep sending those in. They make us feel great, and it helps get the word out. And so I'm going to share this one. So amazing. Glitter Sparkle 69 says, between the podcast and the Patreon, I feel like a new woman. This is so needed. Please keep doing what you're doing. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to hear that. If you guys have not already subscribed to Patreon, please make sure that you do so. It is over 250 classes and learning workshops and demos and so much stuff there. And, before the podcast, I had a life too. I am also the owner of Sexual Essentials, so there's a lot of amazing content on there. And so make sure that you tap in. But today we have an amazing episode lined up. I'm so excited because this one is definitely going to be one that's near and dear to my heart. This is not an episode with like another lifestyle person or another podcast host. This is with my friends from home, not from college, not from adulthood, from when I was in middle school, sneaking out the house, walking down the street to White Castle.
Blame me.
And, drinking like Everclear and shit like that.
Man, don't blame me.
Don't judge us. We have grown up and life has gotten better.
Some of us have grown up.
Okay, with that being said, I'm going to introduce our guest to you. I have here Marcus.
Hi, Gary.
Hey.
What it do?
And I have James. Say hey to the folks.
What up, friend?
What up, friend?
That's my sister.
Sister, brother, friend, all that. And I know y'all be like, ooh, y'all call people sister, brother. Y'all know I don't give a fuck about none of that shit y'all talking about, okay? Me and Marcus grew up, and he was like the sixth one in our household, and literally. And he's been my friend since I hated him. I hated him growing up. He was so mean and always talked about me. And
That lip.
He always talked about me. And it used to make me so mad. And I don't know, he just didn't go away. And we've been friends ever since. It's so crazy.
Gotta love me.
You do. And then you have James here. James was my first boyfriend in high school, you guys. Like, we're talking like 15, 16.
Giggity.
Homecoming. Freaking homecoming. And so it's always crazy when people talk about these conversations about like men and women can't be friends and things like that. And one thing I really do love about my life is that I don't hold myself to these bounds that don't fit my truth. And I really just couldn't imagine my life without these two in it if I couldn't have male friends or not be able to call somebody brother. Or now I don't call James my brother, but he is my friend. He's a dear friend at that, and that's just what it is. So we're going to get into this episode. We're going to start with, well, first of all, welcome to the show, you guys.
Hi, Gary.
Thank you.
Do y'all watch the show?
Absolutely.
I do watch the show.
You do watch the show. Okay, yay. I'm a little nervous too. Like they don't do this, you guys.
I don't
so
do media. No.
yes, and so but I'm a little nervous too because I'm like, okay, well, how's it gonna flow? You know, it ain't the same. You know, how does it all go? But the truth is, the conversation that we're having today, I have with them every time we talk on the phone or FaceTime or get together. So I feel like we just gonna do what we normally do with a little more organization, and so we just gonna do it.
And a little more proper.
And a lot more lights and cameras. And...
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
Don't worry about that. It's just us. It's just us.
My buggy.
Okay.
So all of us are from St. Louis. That is where I'm from, if you didn't know. So let's get into it. We start my show off with an adult tip of the day. The adult tip of the day is something to put in your back pocket, like my therapist says, or just like a small tidbit that can really like change your perspective of your life, or just something to remember. Like, and it can be all kind of things. Like one time we had how to see the signs of a stroke or something like that. Because it's like, damn, we really are the adults in the room now.
I was just about to say that's
you know?
real. Like, we're the adults now. If someone was having a seizure or a stroke,
do you know what to do? You looking at us crazy. Like, how did it go?
Nah, I'm looking at. I wouldn't trust y'all to know what to do.
I got you, bro.
No,
you.
please
Jump
don't.
on top of you.
No.
He working health, so he's like, we're doomed.
We're going to do this together.
No, we not.
Yes.
No, we good.
Don't have call 911. So, but things like that, those are the type of things that we talk about with the adult tip of the day. I didn't jump to the end before we even started.
Look.
Adult tip of the day. And so today's adult tip of the day is some self-care for the men. So I'm just,
I love my self-care Sundays. Like, look.
I love that for you. Your skin looks great. So before we get into it, I'm tell y'all some ones that I think as a woman, but then I want y'all to tap in. So take a second, think about it, you know. All right, so some I have is soaking in Epsom salt. I know that women be loving baths a lot, you know, but I don't know, do men take baths? I know a lot of men take showers, but do you take baths? Like, do you soak?
Me personally?
Yeah.
I got a jacuzzi tub in my apartment with a TV over it.
That's a yes.
I need my
to
son.
soak. He said, I need to soak.
On Sundays, you watch your episode of Power. You get your soak in, you feel me? And you can, after the episode, if you ain't dozed off by now, you just really just meditate and get your mind together. Don't mind me after Power. I'm sorry. It's not because of Power I'm meditating, but I take that time to really get back to myself. And with the Epsom salt thing, I encourage a lot of people to do, they call it in Germany salt bath pools, but the float pods.
Okay, I haven't done that yet. I heard it's like floating.
You levitate on water.
I'm gonna put on my to-do. I'm gonna remind me.
On water.
Definitely for sure. I have to do that.
You can meditate. You can relax, and it's amazing for your body. I have a bad back, so I can lay there, and my body can like just be itself. You know what I'm saying? However you need to relax, stretch apart, it can do it itself.
Okay, we gotta look that up. What's it called again?
Float pods.
Float pods. All right. So do you do baths?
I haven't taken a bath since probably middle school. So
Peeing in the tub.
Okay, that's fair. A lot of people don't, and not just men, but sometimes women don't. They're like, "Oh, I'm soaking in my own filth." I mean, you could take a shower afterwards.
but like as you describe it, that sounds like an experience.
Is it not? It's just,
I didn't get the float pod, but I'm talking about baths. Baths
period.
be amazing.
Yes.
So all right. So the first self-care for men is soaking in some Epsom salt. Don't call it a bath. Call it I gotta soak in some Epsom salt. It make it sound a little more
It's a smooth soak.
sound a little more masculine if you need. But it's really not that type of thing. It's not a masculine, feminine. It's self-care, and just for your body, just to let it release some tension and just be in water. Next is facials and skincare routine. Okay, Jergens is not a moisturizer or a facial plan. Okay.
Says who? You said my skin look good. What is it? Jergens?
No, you need a little more than that. And even if you have it still, you know how we see like Nia Long and like Gabrielle Union, and their skin look amazing and things like that. See, now y'all going to Idris Elba. Let me.
All right, bro.
Idris Elba's ass.
Pineapple.
Elba's ass. Y'all went so far. Y'all started adding to it. Ooh, Gabrielle. Ooh.
Yes.
But I'm saying you don't get that way by accident. It's taking care of your skin. We are getting older. Yes, black don't crack, but baby, don't push it.
Take care of
You know what I'm
yourself,
saying? Take care of yourself. Look like you look like you take care of yourself, you know? So there's that. So if you don't know what to do with that, just ask a woman if you need to, or someone, hey, especially with y'all having beards and stuff like that. Like, as women, we get ingrown hair. It's just like,
I do.
Yeah, like on our privates and public, and I mean, not public, pubic, public parts.
All of them.
On our public parts.
Hey, if your parts are public, that's your prerogative. Like,
What's
it's
wrong
cool.
with
He said, no judgment. No,
Your
that's
parts
not
public, bro.
No, so.
that? We don't go there.
So, I'm just saying, ask somebody about where you get your facials. It'll do you really well, and you every 6 weeks. You know what I'm saying? So,
At least once a month, I would say a man should at least have a self-care Sunday.
absolutely, and every week. But that's a great place to start.
At least start there.
And then, of course, pedicures. Even if you're not having your feet out, when it's
Pedicures.
time, like, you don't want to be scratching nobody with your nails, like in the bed, like
Or like
that's,
the inner part of your foot, you try to like rub up on them. You scoot over and you got like sandpaper on your feet. And
That's
you just scratching
trifling.
them. Yeah, you don't want that.
it's
You
trifling.
might want to go like more than once a month, bro.
I'll get my pedicures on a regular, bro.
Okay.
I'll get my pedicures.
Yeah. Sunscreen. Okay, I know that there's been I know we're black, but you still need sunscreen, and I know a lot of women have picked up on it, and I know a lot of men give it to their kids, but they don't. A lot of people don't put it on. Okay, so we
You
just
right.
added it to the list,
My cousin-
and then a lip scrub. Ask yourself, if you kissed a girl and her lips felt like yours, would you be okay with it? So this isn't just for y'all, but
I'm processing.
you
know what I'm saying?
seeing if you would.
My lips is nice, but like
It's both of y'all testing y'all lips right now.
I'm doing the low. You
Following
didn't.
instructions.
He said,
Okay.
that's real. But seriously, think about it. Like, and it's not just for y'all. I know y'all take good care of yourselves, but it's for the listeners, okay? So test your lips. And, ladies, speak up if, hey, your lips a little crusty. You want a little Vaseline. Like, do a lip scrub.
All right,
Take
grandma.
care.
Vaseline.
Y'all don't still use
Grandma come in the kitchen. Come here, let me get you together. Your
Look
whole
here. Oh,
face.
yeah. Man, I put some Vaseline on Trey's face, and I was like, I rubbed that shit in so hard. Not on purpose, but you trying to get the
Your
greasy
grandma came
look
out
off.
of you.
I said, oh my gosh.
Like black
Your
place.
expression is behind. Look, come here. Let me get it
Let me
off.
get it off. And he was doing like this. I said, okay, let me be a little gentler.
Gentle alert.
But that is the adult tip of the day. So did you guys have any ones that you want to add before we move on?
Do your self-care Sundays, bro. Start your week off on a positive note. My Sundays, I like to be undisturbed. Really center into myself and take care of myself.
Yeah.
Go to a sauna. Go sweat all the alcohol from the weekend past.
The turn up, let the turn up out.
Let the turn out your body on Sunday so you can start the week off fresh.
I think a lot of it's attractive when men have a self-care routine, because it's like, you're going to understand, you're also going to pour into my self-care routine. And so like a lot of women be like, oh, you don't send me to the spa. And sometimes it's not that he don't see you doing it. He don't understand because he's not doing it for himself, and y'all not doing it together and things like that. So even if you don't know where to start, I think just having the conversation of, you're allowed to say no and not do anything for anybody else as well. You know what I'm saying? Like cutting your phone or do not disturb. I'm not available. You know what I'm saying? And just having alone time.
Taking a day.
Taking
a
however much
day.
time that you need. And, regardless of what the world says, you're allowed to take that moment as men, as black men, as, all of that,
Hey, you guys. Hope you're enjoying the show. I just had to stop by and let you know that if you have not ordered your thigh-high socks from Sexual Essentials, you're behind. I know how it feels to buy lingerie and you say, ooh, I'm going to be real sexy and put it on, and it's sitting in the back of your drawer collecting dust. Let me tell you, the thigh-high socks are just so convenient. They're super sexy and they're actually comfortable. So instead of feeling like you have to make that large leap into lingerie, try the thigh-high socks. Your partner gets to see you looking sexy as well as yourself, and they're super comfortable. Don't forget to use our code NJASP for 15% off. Tell your friends and make sure that you get your favorite color before they're gone. All right, now back to the show.
So, all right. So we're going to move on to the Twitter Talk. Twitter Talk is the portion of the show where we kind of talk about something that's either like controversial or like debate or popular culture, things like that. Because with Twitter, it's been around for so long, and we pay homage, respect. We pay homage to Black Twitter because it's the start of almost everything that goes viral, every conversation, or every conversation makes it to Twitter, and it can be a totally different conversation than what it was on Facebook, what it was on Instagram,
Totally.
you know. So we just, Black Twitter is a thing. And so the Twitter talk for today is there's this topic around how men talk and how women talk and what things mean. And what I learned was that what y'all consider fine, cute or pretty, sexy and beautiful are all different things. So I'm gonna tell you what I learned, and y'all tell me, cause y'all are men, so y'all can tell me what the truth is, right?
We don't have to tell you our secrets.
We don't have to. He's like, you brought me on here to tell the man secrets. A man told me this.
I give my point of view.
He just explained it. Okay. Now look, I was told that fine mean no. Let me start this one. Sexy mean. And I was confused because this man had called a girl sexy, and I eat pussy, and I did not think she was sexy. So, but also he was like, look at it, da 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 da. I was like, you talking about her body? He was like, yeah, I said she's sexy. So that's how we got into this topic. And so he was saying when he say a woman is sexy, he's not necessarily talking about her space. He's talking about like her body, her sex appeal. She's sexy. Then there was, I said, well, what's cute, pretty? Like if men always calling you cute, pretty, he like, that
Cute
face
will
card
get
is facing.
Man,
like your
them
face
cute ones
card,
will
like
get
you
you.
fine, like in the, like, sorry, not fine. Let's not get there yet. You are cute. You gotta, we talking about the face. Like that face card ain't declined.
You looked at it, she just grabbed you.
Like you're, in the face. And then there's fine, which is you got the body and you got the face. You fine.
You working.
And then beautiful mean like that energy matches the fineness. So like you got the sensuality, sexuality, peace, and you fine. That means you beautiful.
That's the only one I can connect with.
Yeah, you gotta have all the above.
I gotta
like,
have.
like, who did I just meet? What was that?
She is beautiful.
Yeah.
You one of those. He'll take a pause and be like, Samia, she is beautiful. I said, oh, here we go. If she beautiful, he look.
You didn't tap my soul. Wait a minute.
So how accurate is that? Did I get it right?
It's around the board.
All right, so tell me, but is it a good basis? So,
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's some
Great
truth
basis.
to what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're not asking you to give up no trade secrets. We just ask you to talk about it.
I don't have no secrets. The beautiful one is the only one that I can speak for.
Okay.
That one is spot on. The rest of
all I
them,
look for.
shit. I mean, that's like your department, bro.
When you say a woman sexy, what you talking about?
So I don't really use the term sexy too often.
Out loud, you're sexy.
In my head.
Earlier today when we was at the mall.
Quiet.
Okay.
If you sexy, you obviously are appealing to me in some way. You know, if you
You
want
don't
to,
know what it is?
I mean, it might have been like one thing. You know, so like you say beautiful, you have the whole package.
Got you.
Oh, you sexy? Yeah.
I use the term like sexy as fuck sometimes. And I may not say it out loud, but I mean type it. You know, I've realized that I don't necessarily say sexy very often.
I don't say sexy too often. Even when
Is
I'm
it
like,
an age thing? Are we aunties and
I thought
uncles?
that was like
you're
a cultural thing. I don't really hear it.
it might
Is
actually
it
be a
that
cultural
we don't
thing.
say sexy a lot?
That's like that one word that we don't really say.
Cock.
You know, it's,
Y'all just
He said,
y'all just locked eyes and
You know,
said
like
cock.
cock.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't say that. Sexy
So-
is not part of my vocabulary. You know,
Okay, and then fine. If you say a woman fine, it's so crazy because that's the simplest word. But you know what? I found that the simpler things are for y'all, the better y'all like them. So it's crazy that
if a woman is beautiful, I have to go exchange with her. And if I don't, I'm gonna go home and regret it. If I say that a woman is fine,
you're gonna regret it.
If I say a woman is fine,
You
it's
messed that
like,
one up.
oh man, she fine. I'm gonna keep on doing whatever I was doing.
Yeah, like she was fine.
I
Like,
acknowledge-
giving,
I-
beautiful.
yeah, you
I
acknowledge it.
have to speak to this woman.
It's,
Okay.
it's a feeling.
This might. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I need to say something just in
I need to
case.
see what's gonna
Yeah.
happen.
I like that. All right.
I'm gonna roll with
Thank
that
you
one.
for the insight. Okay. No things were given away. No man codes were given
No,
away.
heavens no. It was no man code.
Heavens no.
Yeah, I don't want some secrets anyways, but
So this episode is about, well, first of all, You brought me emos for my birthday.
Yeah.
Emos, y'all, is the best pizza in the world.
Tell them again.
Emos is the best pizza in the world. I ain't even looking at the camera. I'm looking behind the camera at my producers because she be trying to
Stop trying this without emos.
New York pizza and shit.
This Chicago nonsense.
Wild.
This whole pie in one bite.
Look here. St. Louis is a tad dangerous, and it got things going on. But
we
the one
make some
thing
good
we
pizza.
got is some good food, okay?
You hear me? I'm trying to tell you.
Chinese food.
The Chinaman.
What? The Chinaman.
The Chinaman.
So nice to hear someone say Chinaman. When I say Chinaman, here they be like,
You racist.
Hey, you guys, it's your host, Samia. If you're enjoying the topics over here, honestly, I think you'd love the topics over on my learning platform. I have some private interviews over there with some amazing guests. I've interviewed Mr. Marcus, yes, that's the porn star, Passion Jones, who brought on her husband and her boyfriend, and even had some girls' night conversations with Medina from Cocktails as well as Mila from Good Moms Bad Choices. That conversation was amazing. We did some examples of our dirty talk, and let's just say you need to check it out. Don't just take my word for it. Make sure that you click the link below and sign up today. There are over 250 workshops, classes, interviews, and so much more. All right, now back to the show.
That might say that at the crib
it's
too. I think
it's like all one word.
It's the Chinaman. Yeah,
Chinaman.
like I was bred there. I was raised on that.
It's not MEN though. Like I ain't saying like the China
Yeah.
men. It's called
The
Chinaman.
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 that's between you and God. Like,
And God know our heart.
I'm not
But
judging.
I ain't gonna lie to you. Cecil Whitaker's is one of my,
Thank you. I don't think we
Cecil
had a
Whitaker's,
conversation. We didn't.
but it's a style of pizza that we have. It's like a thin
sweet.
crust, and I know you've probably had thin crust somewhere else. This show ain't about pizza, and they ain't selling us to talk about it.
It sounds like a St. Louis ad.
a St. Louis ad for
alright.
pizza.
Were you with St. Louis people, bro? That's just the energy.
It makes you want to talk about somebody. You know what's crazy is like as you get older, you're in more rooms where people don't know what you're talking about
No
at
clue.
all. And so
No
you
clue.
stop talking about certain things because it's just not relevant. And so it's just so crazy how your heart could feel warm talking about something that
Pizza.
you know, like pizza, you know? But anyways, this episode is about, so I don't know if you guys felt this, but when you turned 30, that feeling of I accomplished it, I got there, I did the thing, I made it to 30. And it's a pretty number, it's an even number, it got the zero on it, one of the good ones. And I just stepped into this space where I just turned 31, right? And now I feel like I've had 30 years, right? Now. And it's
Thank you. I'm
like,
glad you said that. Oh, I'm glad you said that.
it's like this episode is about turning 31, but having those 30 years behind and now speaking on it and just understanding how in that 1 year's difference, 30 years was through the whole thing, all the way up until the day before. You know what I'm saying? I turned at 31, and it's so crazy how we sometimes be like, oh, 31 is an ugly year. I don't got to do nothing big. It's just so crazy how I celebrated this year. I celebrated by working. I celebrated by opening a
Literally
new
working.
business. Excuse me. Literally working. Everybody asks what you're doing for your birthday. I'm working.
Working.
But I've created a life that I don't need a break from. I need breaks and things like that. But if I have to be here, it just isn't the worst day in the world. It's not the worst thing that can happen. And it's such a beautiful place to be, you know? And so I'm proud of that. And last year I wanted to do this thing like 30 for 30, turning 30. You know, I love a little aesthetic. But it was just so many, and I don't know, it just didn't come to fruition. And so now I was like, you know what, maybe it's time to bring that back and talk about like 30 for 30. And I doubt that we'll get through 30 because y'all know I be long-winded. It ain't just a list. I got to talk
both
about
of us
some of
too.
them.
Probably get to about 3 of these things, honestly. But
What you say?
no.
This is a show. When you talk under your breath, we wants to know.
Oh, God.
It come on the camera.
You said you won't get through 30 because you talk too long, and I said we probably get to like 3 of these things.
Damn.
It's gonna be a solid.
I was
thing.
thinking like we was going to get through at least 7.
Okay, we'll see.
Now we got to get to 8 because it's
It's gonna be rough. All right, on
It's
the
gonna
clock.
be a rough. All right, let's get started because now I didn't talk shit. Knowing he might damn well be right.
Smooth be right.
But at the end of the day, we're still doing 30 for 30 and just talking about some of these things that really changed your thought process. And it's and I think the first one that I can start off with is that nothing is solidified. Never say never. None of that. I said I would never move to Atlanta. You got me fucked up. And you know what I also said? I said I only moved to Atlanta for the money. I said they got to be talking
did say that
something big.
part.
I said now for the right price. I said I would have to
We
be able
had
to
the whole
buy.
conversation about it.
I said I would have to be able to afford to buy my comfort if I moved to Atlanta because of the city, the traffic, the everything going on. Like I would have to do it, and it's so crazy. As we sit in the Something Extraordinary Content House that's nicer than any place I've ever lived.
Me too.
That has a cigar lounge being built in the basement that has like literally
Amazing.
the comfort. And so it's just like, it's so crazy because it provides a place to do my job, but do my job in a way that includes the self-care, and not just for myself, but providing that to other podcasters and content
I'm about
creators.
to say other people. Like,
Other people.
you
At
can
an
make your own humble
affordable-
abode, but you bring people here and they feel like they're at home.
And I think that like even growing up,
Okay,
we
yeah.
always had the turn up. It was the turn up. I always
Your
like
house.
y'all have sat down and heard multiple people from throughout my life talk about what we did in college, and it was Samia have a turn up and his drinks and his music. But even before
You
then,
didn't notice I had braids.
This is where we insert that picture with braids.
We're not going to do. Your
This
house
would be
has
that
always
moment.
just been that comfort zone.
It has always been a comfort
You
zone.
made your own now.
And so it's crazy because we always go back to this topic of how do I feel about, my life and the past. And what's crazy is though, even though I understand now how much was wrong with my childhood, in the moment, we were just always those kids that made the best out of everything.
Did we not?
Everything. Like so many times.
Whatever.
Whatever. Okay? So the first 30 for 30 is that. Because you see, I'm looking at James like, hold on, let me get back on track. I got at least 7 more to go.
Let me not stop you.
Is that nothing is solidified. Everything is able to change. And if you can keep that in mind, that will assist you in being a little kinder to yourself and understanding that you are allowed. Give yourself permission to change your mind. If something that used to work for you doesn't anymore, you're allowed to change. Find the words, find a way to, communicate that. And also, if you don't know if something is changing, you can have that too. Some things feels different. I don't know what it is. I need to sit in this for a while. Allow yourself a moment. Allow yourself a moment. Which brings me to the second. You do not have to make a decision or respond right away. You do not have to make a decision or respond right away, which means you don't owe anybody a response. It means that on Sundays you can turn your phone on Do Not Disturb for self-care. You don't have to apologize and say, sorry, I missed your call. I was doing this, and explain yourself to someone. You don't have to.
But that's hard in the beginning.
It
Is
is.
it not? That's hard.
Yeah.
Especially turning 30, you have the adulthood pressure. But you also have a lot of responsibility. And you also have people that's just been in your life that you feel like you just owe to answer my phone.
Oh, owed. Like you owe them. Got it. That
them.
you owe them. Yeah.
Yes. It's like, no, I don't. Today I want this day.
As men, is it because women have their own empowerment things that we've been building over years and things like that, and it may have come from men being able to be in a place of power that women weren't and things like that, but we have gotten started on that journey before you guys. But as men, do you feel like it's difficult to create those type of boundaries because of how you're supposed to provide or show up, even though you're not married or things like that? Like, is it difficult to tell women is it difficult to have boundaries around like your communication and giving yourself a moment? I know for James, I know the answer. James, okay, go ahead, answer.
I wonder why you know. Can you relate?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm gonna speak for both of us right now. Feeling the need, the want, the love to serve somebody else, it's easy to lose yourself in that and do everything to serve them. And with that is eventually gonna come resentment, of course. Mm-hmm. You start to resent that person, at that point, this thing is done. Like, it's hard to return back to that. So creating a habit, I've learned that I need the people I develop relationships with to have boundaries for themselves.
Absolutely.
And help me be better about my boundaries. And it should be like, the things that you do better and the things that I do better, those things should wear off on one another.
Absolutely. I know with me, first of all, James was one of the first people I knew that had like really good boundaries. And I don't know if that was intentional or not at a young age, but he's always, and we're both Aries, but you know, Aries women and men are different. And this isn't one of those things where you just tie it all together because we both, it's not like that, but seriously. But also it shows the difference in upbringing and what's boundaries being taught and boundaries being watched and learned and things like that. And it's so crazy because and we'll it could go.
Making 8.
Huh?
We're not making this 8.
We are gonna make it to 8. I had to think.
Come on with it.
It's okay.
Oh,
We can have a solid 3.
Oh,
We gonna have a solid 3.
Mm-hmm. Shut up.
Okay, so my next one is be present in your emotions. And what that means for me, I'll give an example of how the day started. So, recording and it being my birthday and the content house opening and, I bit off a lot, but I really wanted this and this is how it worked out and I knew I had the capacity for it. But I woke up this morning and started running around to the store, getting stuff done, and Naya, my interior designer, sent me a beautiful message. And it literally stopped me in my tracks. So I was walking around, I read my message, walk around, do this, and it stopped me and it grounded me. I was like, damn, I haven't felt the day. It is my birthday.
You said Maya?
Naya.
Naya. Good job, Naya.
Naya.
Yes.
Naya is also our interior designer for the house.
Yes.
And the message brought, and I realized I was kind of running on autopilot, not out of not liking what I was doing, but like this needs to get done and things like that, but not being present that you've been working on this for 6 months. This is y'all know I love birthdays. Like, it is my favorite holiday.
Yes,
like,
ma'am.
my birthday and then a partner's birthday or a friend. I love birthdays. Were you going to say something, James?
Couldn't too.
Do you think that it's maybe you can lose yourself in being busy and not check in with yourself? Like, how do you think that your life would change if you were to check in with yourself even when you're doing all this stuff that you're doing today?
I believe that in the moment of her message, it wasn't about like losing myself in work because I don't. I'm actually very accountable and very present. And the reason that we both record is because this is me taking my time back. I wanted a business that would provide this to other people said that way. Moms, parents, people that are that have different businesses and different schedules can feel like they can make a space and opportunity to create in their life. So bulk recording. So my specialty with this content house is providing bulk recording packages and options and things like that. And so it's just a hard weekend. You know what I mean? Like, this is a part of it. And also there's already self-care built in. We have massage therapists that come through here. Like, we go to the spa afterwards. So the self-care is built in, but tough is still going to be tough. Yeah. What her moment taught me, though, was because Naya just lost her mother 2 weeks ago. And I did speak with her and get her consent to talk about, just this, but she just lost her mother 2 weeks ago. And in that moment, she remembered me and sent me such a heartfelt message that stopped me. You know what I'm saying? Which I watched, and that was me watching her feel her emotions, be present in her emotions. I've seen her cry. I've seen her laugh. Like, we've been here for the past couple of days, right? Recording, knocking out these episodes. I've watched her cry. I've watched her laugh. I've held her and stopped. And I've watched her go crazy during my photo shoot. And like, I watched her feel every one of her emotions. And I said, you know what? Slow down. You so worried about getting off schedule and disappointing people or not being courteous of your team that you are trying not to feel anything and do what you need to get done to the point that you have not felt that it is your birthday. You know what I mean? And so it's not about getting all crazy lost in your emotions, but having some emotional discipline, but also having the emotional discipline to acknowledge your emotions.
Yep.
And more than one thing can be true. You know what I mean? And so even in her circumstance, she's like, Samaya, and I called her and immediately told her, yo, and we had a moment and, we let out some tears, it was good. It was good.
It was necessary.
Necessary.
Very much necessary.
But she was like, I've watched you do that. I've watched you be like, I don't know how I can do this. And then also watch you pour into other people and say, no, your gift, like there's space. She's like, I've watched you, me tell you I don't know how to do that design. So man, I'm like, yes, you can. You could do it. Let's take a break. Let's get back to it tomorrow. I know you'll think of something.
Pat yourself on the back.
And
Pat yourself on the back. Thank you.
And so being present in your emotions, you're allowed to hate your dreams sometimes for a second. And you're allowed to be like, yo, I'm so grateful. I am so grateful. But sometimes that shit is heavy.
It was hard.
Sometimes that shit's heavy. It's hard. It's a lot of things. Whatever you feel, it's allowed to feel. But learning how to not let that control you and learn how you communicate your emotions to others.
Be a functioning adult.
And I think I want to know I don't know the right word, but with men, I've learned from talking to you guys is that you guys understand where women come from a lot, but you guys do not always understand or respect how they respond to their emotions or talk to you guys about it or raise their voices or things like that, things that y'all not allowed to do when y'all feel emotions. Y'all not allowed to show the emotion. And then women, on the other hand, get to be overly emotional or communicate with, I feel this, versus a factual statement or things like that. Like, how do you guys control or even acknowledge your emotions as men? Because, men do know how to suppress things. And, we're encouraging you guys to feel more. So how does that work?
In my opinion, a lot of men handle things differently, right? Y'all say, we don't show emotion or, we just grind through and we do things. But also in that same breath, a lot of women will say like, oh my God, he's too much of this or he's too much of that. A lot of those times, that's really a man just really expressing himself, getting certain things out. I know me personally, me expressing myself is really calling my close friends. On them days I actually need to vent, and I don't need to vent too often. I'm always here to listen and to give my wisdom. If I got to vent, that's all right, but we up here. We need to get this from out my mind and out my mouth.
Yeah.
Because definitely things are going to start clicking for me. Other men, they might go out and start partying more. Other men, what I'm saying? Everyone has a kind of coping mechanism, but we show it, and a lot of women catch it. But you got to really understand your person, your man, to understand how he deals with his own emotion. I'm empathic with cancer. I would come feel you. I get my emotions out with a lot of people that I kind of meet during my journey, during my path. I can relate to, I can drop this much on you. Oh, come here. Let me feel you.
Who can hear this?
You know what I'm saying? Who can feel me here? I'll drop
hold
that on
space
them.
for you. Who can hold space for what I'm trying to say?
And understand it. So, long story short, not to go too deep, everyone kind of expresses, especially from a man point of view, expressing their own kind of way. Some may be positive, some may be negative, some may be neutral. Just to get to know that man to see how he handles things, because there's also a sign, a red flag of when a man may need help. One thing a man's not going to do is ask for help.
With you and I, we've always watched each other's drinking, and we always knew by the level or amount of drinks that we had, oh, you need to talk? And you know what I mean? And you heard the episode about me stopping drinking and, drinking buddy's gone, but still here.
No, we're not, because I'm done too. I leave in 2 weeks for Dubai.
You're done? I talk about we're still here, but despite us not drinking.
Yes, but I'm putting drinking down too. It's on its way.
It's good. It's a process. We've always been ones to overindulge in liquor when things in life weren't going right and
things
stuff like that.
Things wasn't going right. Things was going right. It was Friday.
It was Tuesday.
Thursdays. Like, we're adults now though, and I'm not a person that likes to create habits.
I feel like I'm an adult, and the truth is I want my body to feel good. And I love my friendship with James because he always checks in with me about, how does your body feel? And it's not like he's not being creepy.
We did that at lunch today.
He will ask you, so how does it feel when you sit? And he's like, depending on how your body feels, it's telling you something.
Yeah,
I learned that from
real. Yes,
oh my goodness. Like, we used to talk about
real.
food addiction all the time and like things like that. Like that's something I've always appreciated when it comes to our friendship, is that he's gonna make me check in with the facts. I guess he'll ask you how you doing, but he'll ask you a specific question.
But how you doing?
How does this feel? oh, well, maybe I'm not doing very well.
You hear me?
All right, it's giving you another opportunity, another avenue to check in with yourself.
Too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another perspective. Yeah, I love it. We were talking about earlier in the car. Our social circles are solid.
Oh, look here. You know,
Our social
it's blood in,
circles
blood
are
out with me.
solid. Like we all play our positions.
But
like just that conversation I had with James earlier, like I kind of found my own way with my eating habits and my healthier eating and why I eat the way I do. And then it kind of got confirmed just talking to James in one conversation. I'm like, I know it wasn't true. That's why I do that.
And the food was also fire.
Man, it was fire.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, you missed a good lunch. You was busy.
you was busy.
Boy, that lunch was fire.
I'm glad y'all had to have y'all got to have some man time together.
Well overdue.
All right, we're moving on to the next one. This makes 4. This makes me checking the time. All right. The next thing that I've learned with these 30s and life is that a lot of times we are so cautious of being used. I don't want to be used. I don't want to be used. I don't want to be used. But I don't think we talk about the detriment and also the other side of not being used. When you're not being used for your purpose or you're not being used for what you're meant to be used for. And I realize I have a desire to be used. I want to be used. I have a desire to be used and not used up. But I have a desire to be used because I realize I'm here for a reason. And if we be like, oh, I don't want people to bother me. Actually, I do. I want people to see me and bother me, or, you know, and I'd say that with quotations, like, make sure you watch the YouTube visuals, yeah. I say that to say I want people to reach out to me for the gifts I have to offer within my boundaries, respecting mine, respecting yours. I want to be used up because I've realized that life has felt worse in the moments where I wasn't being used for what I was supposed to be. And I could not figure out why I did not feel what I need to feel. Maybe you feel crazy, not because you're being used, but maybe you're not being used enough, you know?
And it's funny you say that because people, once again, going back to being an empathic cancer, people say all the time, like, oh my God, like, you know, you're so helpful, you're so loving, like, make sure people not using you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no one's gonna like do me dirty. Like, y'all know me well enough to know I'm not gonna get played crazy.
Yeah.
But use me. I'm in your life for a reason. I can do an abundance of different things. You know what I'm saying? If I call you my friend, if I call you my associate, my family, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Use me.
Use me.
Like, I got you.
I'm one of those friends that call people and be like, you didn't ask me for nothing. Like, you ain't asked me for nothing. And then our friendship contract is say you should be allowed to call. Why you didn't tell me you needed something? Why? And I always get hit with the you're busy and, you know, you have Trey. And it's like, I made space for you.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I need you to use this space.
But see, that's in my opinion the reason why the world really don't go round the way it should. Because a lot of people want to just look for themselves. You know, like if everyone was out here with the heart of let me help the person to my left, to my right, let me help the people that actually matter to me. We can all be cohesive and better our society, our area, our connection. But I don't mind being used. I want to be a factor in whatever you got going on or what I got going on. We're gonna help each other move on.
I realize like being used is a desire. And it's just like, I like changing the verbiage around certain things because I realize words only have the meaning. They only have a meaning. The connotation part is.
Yeah, we want to be used. We need to be used, but we need to be used in ways that pour back into us.
Yeah.
So like if you
in a system,
yeah. So it needs to be something that it's
the social
it's
circles, man. I'm trying to tell you, we have a solid social circle.
But your relationship with everything, your relationship with your homie, your relationship with yourself, what you do to make your money. A lot of people want a job where they get paid to do nothing. That's the most miserable job to have.
I ain't thought
the ones where you get paid to do nothing.
To do nothing.
Wow.
It's an easy job where you're getting paid.
And you be
I'm
miserable.
sitting here, looking at you.
But yet people talk about it's about
you're getting
the money.
paid.
So it's like that's not true.
I can get paid 110 different ways.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit here and look at you.
Do nothing. Yeah. So I'm not proving him right because we got more than 3. We technically got 4, right?
Got the 4.
I just want to keep track as we go through the episode. But
there.
I am always aware, I'm aware of the time and how long the episode is. And I do have something I want to talk about. And I want to make sure there's time for it. And if there's time after, we can pick up with number 5. But we still got more than 3.
I doubt we are, but okay. You might want to speed up.
It's always one. It's always one.
It's like, y'all, it's so funny because there are parts of me that I be like, I see so much of myself in y'all, and I realize they got it way. He's the kindest asshole I know.
Yes.
James is the
It's
kindest
like you can't be
asshole.
mad at him. It's like
My producer is shaking her head in agreement.
I just met you.
That's
We bonded right there.
and you were so kind.
Yeah.
And
now she see your other side.
then you became what?
Okay.
You.
So I want to talk about you guys with this show, right? What did y'all like? Y'all literally, it's different. Like you have your college friends who meet you at a certain point. You have your adult friends who meet you at a certain point. You got your mom friends. I got my podcast friends. Y'all are before all those people. I'm talking about.
Man, back in
Like
the
somebody
day,
with the
when I was
shortcut,
young,
somebody with a
not kid
perm.
anymore. Man.
Somebody with the white
the little
Swiss.
drop top that didn't always go all the way down.
Oh, talk about a sunroof top.
Sunroof top.
Grass used to grow in the front seat. Grass used to go.
Every time you got
I
on
knew
the road,
you
that was a
that
little
little thing in the
bumpy.
corner. It sure
Nah,
is.
every time you was on the road, that was a little bumpy. I mean, a little bit. The CD is skipped, so like for 10 seconds you wouldn't hear the
Said
song.
CD, they ain't got CDs in cars no more. We old.
Yeah.
I had the tape with the string.
Okay.
Where you
Okay. So you had the tape with the string inside of a CD player that was no skip and still skipping. All right.
the week that I bought my car, I was like, well, James,
I
want to
remember
go
you
for a
bought that car.
ride? And then
So
The
all right,
engine went out.
Moment of truth. I was never comfortable. Like
In that car.
nah, it wasn't one time where I felt good about my life safety at all.
Bro, just leave the top down. If I gotta jump out this joint, I'm gone.
yo, the first time I drove James in that car, my engine caught on fire in the car.
Can I tell you something? Can I tell you something?
You didn't? That's because you was at that
He
point.
always
I
had
had
a
my
car.
own
You was
car.
already driving.
My own shit.
See, I was a year younger, so I wasn't
Oh my
driving
goodness.
yet. I had to
the
depend
Malibu
on
with
her.
the green door.
Look, one green door. When I tell you, Stephanie always used to be so embarrassed because she'd be like, Samia is going to drop this top and people are going to see that we're in this car.
I'm gonna be singing in this car.
And you know what's so crazy is that with my life, it's just always been like, I
you
used to be
got
so
somebody,
happy
yes.
about the bare minimum. And
That
that's,
was us. Ooh,
and I
that
used to
was
think
us.
that was a good thing. And it's just so crazy because these things changed because I realized like,
was a
I
good
was happy about my car.
I know. Can
Now
I
look at us now.
Can I tell you something that makes me uncomfortable?
Yes.
It's kind of nice, and it makes me uncomfortable. One thing that I do like about you, and it's not a lot of them.
Say it.
But
Wait.
one thing.
Wait.
Look at
Nah.
The
There's
one thing I like about
you.
you, and
Nah.
it makes me uncomfortable because it's a good thing.
Damn,
dang it.
I ain't mean it like that.
ass. I'm so glad that we got this on tape. The kindest asshole
Okay, I
I
was
know.
trying to get to a
Come
compliment.
on, friend.
Whatever you have, you treat it like it's golden. Like you take advantage of it. You're able to stay present, like in this house.
Man.
What I see in this house ain't even what you see. Like as you walk through it, you seeing a whole lot more than my eyes won't be able to see until I keep coming to this thing. And you've always done that. And it'll always make me uncomfortable to say something like kind of nice to you. But shit, you want to go to the next
You know
thing?
what's so
now?
crazy?
That was the funniest
James tells me he loves me more than any of my other friends. He does not get off the phone without telling me that I love you and I miss you, friend.
I'm second in
Are you
line.
okay?
Fuck.
You are second. What you start off the conversation? I love you, sister. I
Now
miss
get
you.
out the way.
That's
Look,
the first
get out the way.
statement.
I love you. Now talk shit.
And but James is very, very and I know you guys don't know us, but it's like no, like he is very
It's that guy.
he is that guy, but he is very intentional about showing up, checking in a real way and letting people know like, hey, I appreciate you as my friend. Thank you for listening to me, what I had to say. Are you doing okay? Are you available? He asked me, do you have the capacity to hear this right now? Like, he is one of my healthiest jackasses of friends.
I can't put that healthiest.
The healthiest jackass I know.
He gonna always
I'm
deliver
okay.
a healthy conversation
A healthy-
to you, some type of insight.
Always.
You still an asshole, though.
An asshole. So,
Hey, you guys, it's your host, Samia. And for those of you who didn't know, I'm also the CEO and founder of Sexual Essentials. One of my favorite parts about building that brand was creating a learning platform that has over 250 workshops, interviews, and so much more. Some of my favorite components are the sex position demos. Yes, you heard that right. Demos. They're featuring some people that you may already know. Good Moms Bad Choices has demonstrated some positions for us, as well as Dara. You remember her from our first episode. Those are some of my faves, as well as the lingam and yoni massages. These are great additions to add to your oral loving for your partner. Yes, I said oral loving. I'm trying to keep it clean, guys. Anyways, they are great additions and a great way to spice things up. Outside of our masterclasses, add one of these on to your normal routine and really wow your partner. Click the link below or in any of the links in our bio and sign up for our courses today. All right, now back to the show.
I would like to know with this, how did you guys feel when you guys heard the first episode of the podcast? Was there anything that you did know, didn't know? How did it loop together for you? What were the things that you went through hearing the show?
I learned more about the journey because as you know, I'm not on social, so I don't see a lot of stuff you post. If I hear something, it's going to be mostly from you. Other people saying, hey, did you see that? I was like, send it to me. Right? Yeah. So you described a lot of things about like what traveling was like with all these doggone bags full of, what that was full of.
Dicks and dildos?
Dicks and dildos and probably bodies, but...
Cocks.
You let that word bothers me. The C word.
Hey man, we ain't gotta use it.
Ugly.
All right, and yes,
just learning more about the journey was good to hear because I haven't been able to see those visuals that way until now.
What was my turn?
I'm trying to make sure I can hear you. About to say you lean back and get relaxed.
I called and told you. I cried. I was at work. This is what you needed. We talked for a long time about, the past that I probably never really knew verbatimly, knew in detail. But we both, we grew up together. We helped each other through so much. You know what I'm saying? With so much pain behind these eyes and these conversations we had.
Yeah.
But we was grinding. We was kicking it. We going to get through it.
Yeah.
This here was your outlet. And
I cut my shit off.
You did it. You feel me?
Yeah.
You did something that's, beneficial to you, profitable to you, and it can really, in my opinion, change our community. You know what I'm saying? I look at this like, yeah, it's great for you, but it's also be amazing for other people.
Yeah.
That sit on this couch, just have these conversations. You know what I'm saying? They just hear the topics you talking about with other people. They may need to hear that and get that off their chest, and you know how you're going to change their life or even put them in a position to live their life. This here was perfect for you.
I could see this being a museum one day.
Literally, like
for real.
Like the ATL little museum where everybody go down and take pictures of it and whatnot, you feel me? Coming through this house, I don't know if y'all seen it. You can do that here. You hear me?
Fine.
Yes. Like this was for you, and I'm glad you found it ultimately.
And you know what? It's so many realizations that I just had to let just be the truth. You know what I mean? And just let it be the truth and let that be it. And I think sometimes I'm so worried about how it may sound and, being misconstrued and giving a fuck what other people think that I wasn't able, because I do now, I wasn't able to show up as myself. And I have two particular instances that I'm totally okay with sharing with both of you. I think that are just so, you never know what the fuck somebody got going on. So with James, like I said, James was my very first boyfriend, like my first childhood, whatever, 15, 16.
My Candace Murray.
Yeah. And when James had broke up with me, and he was like, you too clingy. And he was absolutely right. But James has always had good boundaries. right? Like good boundaries. And he's always had a great sense of self, like, you know. And at that time, like when he heard, when we finally talked and I told him about my childhood and my dad and the molestation and things like that. Now, you know, James ain't stupid. James do some math on your ass, okay? And he was like, you know, there's some math here that ain't math. And like this was going on around this time that we were dating and you didn't say anything. And it was like, I felt safe at your house. I like dating you because I was allowed to go over there. You know what I'm saying? Your parents loved me. Like I love other people's parents, and you know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm such a huge extended family person, because my family has always been so much more than my family. And you know, he was
Literally,
like,
your little brother just called me.
really?
I can't make this up. Isaiah just called me.
Really? And you know, it was a moment, and I had to apologize to him, like, hey, this has nothing to do with you. That had nothing to do with you. I never thought I was going to tell other people what was going on. I thought I was doing the right thing by keeping the family secret and business. And I guess, you know, I've always wondered, like, how did that sit for you? Look at the face he just gave me.
Good luck, that was
When you told me that news, I don't know. Well, most of our conversations, you talking and I'm listening. So I probably didn't have time to tell you where I was at and what I was doing, because he could relate. Anyways, I was in St. Louis, like driving in town for the weekend, and I think at the time that you were telling me about what was going on with Pops, I was driving past where they had the shop at for a second. Mm-hmm. So like to go to where my parents live, I gotta go past that restaurant and the street that you grew up on. So I think about that every single time that I drive by there. It's one of them things that it hurts because it's nothing you could do about it. You gotta feel the emotion, sit with it, that somebody that you love was in a situation that you never should have been in. But it's what can I do other than maybe be appreciative of what you've decided to do with the energy. You know what I mean? Because you could have done a lot of things with it. And you intentionally improve on what you do with your energy. So it's a part of your story.
All right. Oof.
Do I gotta answer this too?
No, yours is a little different. Thank you for sharing that, James. Yours is a little different because, you know, we used to be the three musketeers.
Yep.
Three amigos, me, you, and our other friend who, you know, I'm a consent person, so if we don't, you know, share these names, if you know us, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not you know,
his whole legal name.
Yeah, no, I don't.
So
you know, I tell people I choose this life. They didn't. You know, I share my story in the parts that, you know, go along. But there was a time where I was like teased in high school. You know, rumors get around and truths get around and things like that. Where like there are people don't know the whole story. And with kids, you know, kids are very mean. And so at one point I remember like someone had threw in my face, they were like, you know, you had sex with your friend. And we're not talking about Marcus here. We're talking about another friend that we hung out with. And like, you know, he didn't make you his girlfriend, and you know what I'm saying, you did this and stuff, you know, stuff like that. And like you lost your virginity to somebody that don't want to be with you. And for me, I wasn't thinking about any of that. I was thinking about, I used to sneak out my window at night and go out with Marcus and our other friend.
Blaming me for all these years. I'm not your bad influence.
Yeah, I've always been the ringleader of bad influences. And we used to walk to White Castle I used to work at White Castle, but we used to walk over there
Like
at night.
2, 3 in the morning, like walk through the little creek from my house over to her window.
Yep, they would not, and I would come out, and these were two guys I felt so safe with. Like, they kept me safe, like, and I'm like always kept me safe, and like I didn't have money like that, so like they would buy me food, and then like I was busting it open for a burger, y'all. But this is not what happened. We was all
walked
broke.
down the street, son, Drew Hill, and got White Castle.
In the order that I'm telling the story, I need, it's like in church, they say, all right, take your time,
Right.
trying to tell it correctly. But these were people that we got to know each other. We showed the shit we talked about stuff that was hard for like during high school. Like he was going through stuff and I was like, dang, I never knew that. And, I was going through stuff and y'all know that my parents wouldn't allow me to really be friends with y'all. It was like y'all were allowed to be around if there's somebody else in the room. And they were making it so awkward because there was no sexual tension. It was like, I wasn't even having sex. It was so crazy. And so because of that, I couldn't be friends with the people that I was really connecting with the most because they were boys and I was a girl. Yet I was living in a house where we know who was doing the touching and it shouldn't have been that, And so because of that, I had ended up calling our other friend and I was like, hey, I've never had sex before and I would like to do it and I would like to do it with someone that loves me. And he did not, and not that he didn't want to, I didn't force him, but he was like, I don't know if that's a good idea.
Right.
Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that he was like, somebody, I care about you a lot. Like, we're not like that. We're friends. And I said, that's why, I said, I'm listening to everybody else's stories, and they're terrible. Like, and for me, I had already been being touched by my dad, so I already had terrible. You know what I'm saying? And that was molestation. So I was like, what if I decide to have sex and then that's terrible too? So I was like, so you're my friend. So can you do it with me?
Take the baby boys out of there.
Time, he was like, well, that's and that was like, and he was like, that makes, I was like, everybody's sex story, and I didn't tell him all the stuff like about my dad. I was just like, everybody's sex story sucks, and they don't like the person, and it's uncomfortable, and it wasn't good. And I was like, and I've always been an essential, I've always been who I am. And so it mattered to me, and I was scared. I was like, well, what if it hurts? Or what if what my dad is doing ever escalates? Like, what if it hurts? Like, and he had sex with me, and it was so kind. And it was so nice. And to hear people throw that in my face because a word didn't got out or something or a rumor or whatever. And him saying like, and asking me, are you okay? Like, I don't know how, what I'm saying? Like different things. And people always had rumors, but also when you say something to somebody, you see their face and tell if it's true or not or whatever. And he was like, I don't see you any differently. And, and we did that, once or twice, and that was it.
The same people that was seasoning you were the same people that was at St. Louis Mills movie theater with me when I had my first time. We was all on that back road together, and they started teasing you.
But at the end of the day, kids are kids, and this is high school. But at the end of the day, nobody knows why you do what you do, or you know what I'm saying. Like for me, I wasn't thinking about none of that. Like him making we didn't like each other. You know what I'm saying? Like you talking about like maybe me had a crush, but not really a thing. You know what I'm saying? This is somebody like. It was never like that. Like, but it's somebody that like, okay, you're attractive and you love me and always treat me kind. It can't, you know what I'm saying, for this. Can we do
meaningful.
this?
Like you did it with someone that you actually cared about and actually cared about you.
That's all I could control from the situation. And it's like, it feels good to be able to tell my side of the story when so many people over-sexualize me when I had the balls to even admit that I have a sexuality after everything that I've went through. Is just like, fuck out of here. Like, look how I'm moving. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever, and it's being myself. And I will say, being my last tip for 30 for 30 is be yourself. That is the shortcut. That is the answer to every piece of peace you're looking for the financial freedom that you're looking for, ultimately for the purpose. I am in my purpose right now, and everybody makes jokes and they call me the rich auntie and stuff like that. Well, I risked it all to do this. I was financially free. My son did not see me work anymore. Residual income. That was so long ago. Lord, don't even mention it. Let's bleep that out.
Discount deals. I need to run a car.
They were terrible. Oh my goodness. I remember my little brother caught on fire and they wouldn't let me off work. I was like, y'all is wilding. Enterprise, y'all are ass. Anyways.
Oh, the shot.
I heard terrible things about that car company, and they made me so. They were so.
Y'all had really good
We got to
discounts.
keep going. So, I ain't use their discounts. They're expensive anyway. Anyways, with that being said, my last tip for the 30 for 30 is to be yourself, because it is the shortcut. It is the cheat code. And don't change or alter your story for anyone, because nobody knows why it's your story. Even you may not know. But what you can do is try to be, true to yourself, because the more that you discount what you feel, whether you think that it's normal or not normal, or if you're feeling something you don't even want to feel, you can't deny that, because it lowers and weakens your intuition every single time. And your intuition is needed. Your intuition is the tiny set of instructions that is left within you to help you find where you're supposed to be and do what you're supposed to do in this life. Okay?
Trust it.
With that being said, my advice for today, we're going to zoom past because we got to wrap this up. My advice for today is to, again, please reconsider this. Men and women can't be friends. And I've shared a story about being intimate with the past, like a past relationship, but that's not this guy. And this was my very first boyfriend at 15 and 16, and you know what I'm saying? And it just wasn't that I don't believe that's why he was put in my life. He was put in my life as a safe haven at that time. You know what I'm saying? He was he was right. I was absolutely clingy because it was a safe place. And us being able to talk about that, tell that truth, and say, we're still friends later because you've still been a safe place. It was just, it was all meant to be.
You felt that back then, and look at it now. Look how it blossomed. Look where we at.
It makes sense. It's blood in, blood out with me. If I like you, I'm stuck. And so, reconsider these conversations. And I know some of you guys have friends that are of the opposite sex, and you guys don't fight for those friendships. If they are aligned with integrity and truth, and you can tell the truth, James was at my ex-husband's new proposal for his new wife. I'm just saying, it's not like that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, I got videos of y'all dancing when my ex-husband was already my ex-husband, because it's like, oh, James and Marcus in town, let me come. It's always been what it is. It's always been a good, look at him, I miss him.
Damn. I do.
And that's the thing. It's about saying, hey, this is what happened before. If that's not what you're talking about, something that's 20 years ago. And at the end of the day, I just fight for your friendships. If you know that they're right and they're in alignment, you deserve that. You have no idea why these people may be in your life. Every part of my healing journey didn't come from a woman, And so, that's real. And so I just want to thank you guys for just being there for me so much of my life. Y'all have been in my life longer than I've been by myself. And that's real. And I'm...
We was with you since your lip used to go straight in the air.
Why would you mess up a perfectly good episode talking shit?
I love you.
Don't be an asshole, man. I'm sorry about
your
him.
job.
I'm sorry about him.
As you were saying.
With that being said, we're going to leave off with a spiritual tip of the day, because I do believe that there is more to healing and life and more in this universe than just religion or anything. And so the spiritual tip of the day is to take all those different energies and things people say and crystals and tarot and words that people don't understand and break it down to bite-sized pieces at the end of each episode. So that way you can kind of start understanding, right? So we've talked about astrology before and what it is, but I found a new book and they give a great definition, and I just wanted to read that. So if I find a better source that talks about something that I've already talked about before, I'm sharing it because I thought it explained it better, okay? Real people doing real episodes, okay? She did that one already, but it sounds different. Keep learning. All right, so this book is called Astrology for Real Relationships, and this is not an ad. This is just an amazing book, and it's by Jessica Lanadu. And I follow her on Instagram for astrology, and I love her, the way that she puts things. It helps me understand the parts of astrology that I don't even understand. And so I just want to read the beginning excerpt of what she put, what is astrology? So today's spiritual tip of the day is, what is astrology? Astrology is a system of divination. It's the study of the movements of celestial objects that has been used throughout cultures and time. Astrologers look at where the planets are in the sky and in relationships to one another to determine cycles and trends of experience. Astrology is not a belief system, It's a tool for understanding that has been associated with a wide range of belief systems for thousands of years. There are agnostic astrologers, Buddhist astrologers, anti-capitalist, radical fairy astrologers, and Christian astrologers. There are those who believe everything is light and love, and others who believe we're all doomed. You can apply any spiritual or philosophical viewpoint to the stars. And so, again, I'm attempting, I want to look for the best ways to explain something that is confusing, because a lot of people have a negative connotation around astrology because it's like, oh, I do this because I'm an Aries and I do this because I'm a that. And it's way more than that. And understanding that astrology is literally a tool and a map of learning, unlocking, and accepting and discovering more about the relationship that you have with yourself as well as others. So this book talks about your relationships with your friends first and yourself first. And I haven't got past that, but I'm assuming then it goes into our intimate relationships. And it just talks about how, depending on what, it's a tool. So for the spiritual tip of the day, it is a tool. It's not a belief system. It's a thing that people study that has a little math and science, and it shows the trends. It shows the trends, and it's been around.
Life though, it's not the Bible. It's not.
No, it's just a system for understanding. It's understanding something.
I feel like spiritual tip should be like the new way that we describe like morning sex. Like
We're not gonna start
spiritual tip. He's really been pushing
Like
this. Don't that sound like morning sex?
I mean, morning
sex is pretty. Pussy be falling off the bone at 4 a.m., 5 a.m.
That meat is stoned in the morning. I'm trying to tell you. Feel me?
Why does he do that?
Right, that's why I said we're not gonna do this.
Yeah, I want to start talking about falling off the bone and hog mog and God damn.
We like morning sex.
Look here. With that being said, thank you guys so much for holding space for me on this episode. I know this is not what y'all do. You don't even have social media on a personal level. You
almost cried coming up here.
You almost cried on your way up here?
No, like to get on this couch. Like,
man.
I don't get in front of cameras and whatnot, but I love you.
I love you more.
I love you. I love what this does for you. I love how you really reaching people with this. And I love the vision of where the hell this finna go.
Hey, y'all.
Look.
Make sure y'all follow the SC Content House. I'm coming in hot.
Tell you.
I'm coming in hot, okay?
Trying to tell you.
Coming in hot. Y'all had 6 months while I was talking about it.
Double entendre.
I'm coming in hot, okay? With that being said, a couple of takeaways. Make sure that you subscribe to the Patreon. We have over 250 learning workshops, classes, demos there. We have more conversations for more men and more of their perspectives and other conversations that may not be as appropriate for the podcast and where this is going, but more so appropriate for the people that want to dig deeper and want to learn more about sex in different perspectives, different angles, different discussions that are going to challenge you, teach you in bite-sized pieces. Make sure that you check out the store. We have merch there. We have the thigh-high socks that do go all the way up thick thighs, okay? And make sure that you support. Support can be free. It could be rating the podcast, sharing with someone. If you're watching the YouTubes, those are not free, okay? Watch them. If you're not going to watch them, I'll throw them on Patreon. It's totally fine if you don't want to watch them. But if you want to keep the visuals coming, support it with the numbers by telling someone, leaving a comment. It does more than you think, and it means a lot to me. Having a review to read off makes me feel great. Like, oh, is the spot going? Is it going to be something there? So don't be afraid to show some love. Tell a friend to share something that's absolutely free to you. Your support is the only thing that I need to keep going and reach the heights that I'm going to reach. If you know somebody that owns a podcast, you can celebrate me and my birthday by telling them that, hey, there's this amazing place called the Something Extraordinary Content House, and it's available and encourages and helps you set up bulk recording options so that way you can do your job, have these full days, but the self-care and the convenience is incorporated in. It's a great energy here. We had a bartender here for the past couple days and food for the team and so many guests and so much networking and amazing things happening. So we want to assist in helping you do your job easier and make creating fun again. And with that being said, I love you guys so much. It is an amazing birthday to be able to share and to be able to have you guys to listen and support what I am doing. And I'm 31.
Okay.
I'm 31. It's giving bad bitch.
Thanks for 32.
Auntie. So thank you for tuning in. Make sure you catch up on the show, and we will talk to you next time. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.